Right, guys, welcome back. My guest now, Lucas Ewan from Duries Boxing Club. He's a two-time Scottish champion, Western District champion, and he also won bronze in the GBs last summer. Lucas, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm right, man. I always say that. I always start every interview of days. I always start the same. How you doing? Oh, I'm good. But you must be good. Well, I don't know how if you're feeling physically, but you had a good weekend, so tell us what happened.
So fighting for the intermediate championships and ended up fighting Saturday in the semi-finals against a good lad for Aberdeen, 7-0, and went in, won unanimous to fight the Sunday in the final.
What were you? Well, let's talk. We'll start from the beginning, right? So, first of all, Duries has gone through like a crazy change, right? But I'm watching for this, and I've fed my own stuff to you. I've been watching it, and it looks like everybody's pulled together just to transition into this new gym. And it's a nice thing to see because it means that boxers like yourself and there's enough of you that's maybe been around a few years, but now it's a gym that you can all sort of contribute to.
Aye.
But what has that been like? What did you first feel like when you thought, all right, this gym's we're going to have to leave, and everything was a bit up in the air for a bit?
Man, I felt nervous. I felt scared. Like, I didn't know if we were going to get a place to move into. So I was just thinking of it. I have 1,000 thoughts in my head at once.
Because you're training at this level now, constantly, right? But what was like your family's in that feeling? Because I know your mum's quite involved in the gym as well. Like, I think a lot of the parents would do. I think it's Archie always puts up, we're like a big family, and as cheesy as it is sometimes, right? It is like that. You are a big family, but what was your like the thoughts with your families and the parents and stuff?
My mum was just a bit like nervous as well. She was thinking the same as me, like if I like shut down where we're gonna go, just like what would be the best for me to improve as a boxer. But I just kept believing in Archie and we ended up getting a place.
And I think it's, as I said, it's a nice thing now because I always used to say when you start new schemes and that and they have a mix of people, nobody really owns it.
Aye.
But it's like a community ownership. Now this is like the same thing. This is a gym that you can all sort of put your time and effort into, share that love you have, and it can sort of feel like you have been part of the creation of that gym.
Man, it's just a great progress. Like the fact is we got it done in 8 days, moved into the gym in 8 days.
Well, that's Archie, innit? Archie's just like
get straight to the point.
So you said that whilst you were preparing for the National Development Championships.
Man.
It was formerly the intermediate, so we say intermediates, it's the same thing. What was your thoughts going into that?
When we found out we had to like move out the gym, I was just like, right, the best way to improve is I was keep my road work up, just running every day basically. And then I've got a bag in my house and that, so I was just like training on just punching away and that, and just working on little things myself till we got into the new gym. The
mad thing about you is that you are still growing.
Aye.
And every time I see you take another stress, right? So I don't know how anybody does it, but I don't know how you in particular, when you're still growing at that, because you're 13 years old, right? You crazy difference between when I first met you at the Duries show a few years ago to now. You're still growing, but you still need to make weight.
Aye.
And there's that pressure. What is that like? How do you manage your diet? Who does it for you?
See, to be honest, I've not got a diet. Just eat whatever I want and just.
Your metabolism, we might like, believe it or not, I was like same build as you, but not as tall as you at this age. But I was the same build as you growing up, and I used just to eat like mad. It will catch up with you eventually, probably. But if you keep active, you'll be fine. But so. Do you have no worries about your that you always with the weight you go on, you're quite comfortable at making that weight?
Quite comfortable at 56, 57, but it's just before Christmas I was bang on weight already, so I was just thinking about just maintaining the weight all the way up to intermediates, and I just done it, just eating whatever I want and just still training.
So the intermediates, did you get a walkover on the any walkovers? No, because you started. That's right. It was just the first ring, so it had walkovers. So. You found, when did you know who you were boxing? That week?
That week, but when I found out the draw, it was just me and the boy I fought in the final, so it was going to be a straight final, and then Donkey Short for Granite was at 54 kilograms, but there was nobody there, so he had to move, I was going to have to move up or down, and he moved up, so, and then I ended up having to fight in the semis.
So that's just luck of the draw, innit? we'll get to that and how the draws are done. But in terms of you guys for Duries, like I seen you on a Saturday. Archie had you could tell he was. I mean, yous have grown quite close in it, but also he had his grandson as well, and they had Abe boxing as well. I think the plan was, because Jamie's involved in the coaching, was he was going to be in the corners and stuff. But the draws of the two rings meant that you were going to be boxing more or less exactly the same time as Abe, and then very shortly after that, Jamie's going to be boxing, and no is he just boxing anybody's boxing. Lewis Connolly, who was a Duries boxer. The two of them obviously have been teammates for years, and Archie's been the coach and stuff. So that pressure as it is, plus all the changes, because I know when you were waiting to go on, Archie wasn't allowed, like they were very strict about how many coaches were that, so Archie had to call in a favour to get people to be in Abe's corner while he was waiting for you, and then he's shouting. Did you feel like it was a bit up there? Did that impact your thoughts in it? Because you're quite a positive like guy anyway, right? And I don't think you let things phase you. You're like me in a sense where I can get quite emotional when things, I'm dead passionate, and I know sometimes you're like that, but I think that helps you improve. I think when I've seen it, like I think you know what your weaknesses are, and then you're like you build on your strengths, and that's why you're sitting here, 2-time Scottish champion and also a GB champion with bronze. So, what was it like on that day when you're there? Did you have to comfort Archie a bit rather than did you have to be the coach?
I just had to we found out like just as soon as the draw got put on the table and we looked at it, and we already knew it was going to clash, but we didn't know it was going to be that. We just thought it maybe be like Abe's fight is just finishing and I'm on, but as soon as we seen that there's all the walkovers and all that, it was just straight right on, and it's a bit annoying because Jamie Dury could have he would have done the corners, but if he'd done the corners on that day, he'd been disqualified from the full tournament, so kind of just had to go with it.
So you found out on the Saturday you were boxing, or the Friday?
Saturday.
You found out Saturday you were boxing, you go in, what was your opponent like?
It's just very intimidating. He was intimidating me a bit. He was, in weigh-ins he was growling, he was just staring me down and all that, but I didn't let it faze me, to be honest. Like, I fought a gypsy before, I fought Mark Hutchison in the Western Districts, but I was kind of used to it, and I'm used to like their style, so it was just going in there to box him, and I just done what I did. You
do feel like, see, sometimes that there's a few, I won't name them, right, but there's a few boys like from my area, right, and they'll bang into a boxer and they'll be like, oh, he was pure like up himself, growling at this, that, and you're like, I think it's like when you go to these shows or go to events, sometimes people are trying to get in the frame of mind, and if they seem like to parley with people, like at the end of the day, when you go in a ring, is a massive thing. You're literally in there to punch somebody, exactly. Right? And I think once you've done that, like you're very mature. I done said that even the first time I'd spoke to you, your maturity is like a 25-year-old. So sometimes that maturity, there's a calmness with people, and sometimes like I think people they think, oh, I'll try and get in their head and shit. But at the end of the day, you're still young, and there's still all the emotions in your head. And as I said, you're very passionate, and you like, which is why I love the team that you've got with Archie and you, because I think Archie's very passionate.
Yes.
And the times he say himself, he needs to, like, he's been in the corner. Sometimes the officials will tell him maybe calm down a bit, or if there's a decision he doesn't agree with, he'll make sure everybody knows about it. But it's good to have a release for that passion, and you get it when you step in the ring. And so you get in the ring, the boys being like sort of looking at you and trying to like get in your head and stuff. Then what happens?
It's just, well, as soon as I get in the ring, then I'm looking at him. It's like I'll look him dead in the eyes, and it's like as soon as he looks away, I feel like I've just won it already. Like, that's just the way I think it. It's like he's looking away, but like he's giving me all the looks and all that before it. But then when he steps in, he's just pure looking away and all that. Like, but as soon as I know that, it's like mentally I know I've won. Like,
so the thing is that he's probably gone through a lot of emotions as well, and try to be like, because like you can't help it. Like sometimes my mates would box somebody, and I have this like resentment towards them, And then I'm like, at the end of the day, it's another boxer. But when you're in the ring, you want that gold. You had to then both of you had to box twice. So regardless, was that like one of you was going to have to box twice, and I think that plays in your mind as well. Because obviously somebody's just got a straight walk to the final. You've had to box and sort of earn your way into that final. At the same time, you've got all this going on about the changes to how the structure of the coaches. Jamie's boxing, Archie's stressing out. You get nobody in Abe's corner. Archie's not allowed to even shout across, and it's just all this going on. But you have to go in and get the job done. Going through the rounds, what was your thoughts going through the rounds? Did you think, oh, I've taken that round, or I know what I need to do to win, or?
I just, as soon as before I went out, Archie was just giving me a little bit of advice and just what I could do, and so I just went out and done it. But like, I felt really calm, and like during the round, like you can see it sometimes. I talk to Archie like things I could do, and because he always tells me straight punches, just use my jab, and maybe sometimes I might switch up a bit, and when I do it, I go out and I do it, and I feel like I do way more better. Like it's just always Archie says, just treat your first round like it's your last round, and I go out and just make sure I win the first round, and then take it from there.
So when it came to the announcement, then is there doubt in your head? Because I always wondered, did you know?
I just felt like I just knew that I won it on both days. Like I just knew I won.
Oh, brilliant! Because sometimes I feel like, especially if it's been like a good bout, right, and it's like you can tell maybe it's close. Was it unanimous or was it split?
Semis was unanimous, and then the next one was a 3-2 split.
So even, I mean, things like that is just one person's opinion can go. Like when people see a comment online, sometimes they think it's like you've won 3 rounds or 2 or something like that, but it's the judges. It's like literally just one judge is seeing it one way, and somebody else is seeing it another, and it's a shame when people put absolute everything into it. But as I said, you know how much you have to sacrifice for boxing. You know what the last month's been like. Right after Christmas, changing gym, opening a new gym, still training, still got the intermediates, and then last minute getting told, oh, you're not getting straight into the final, you have to earn your way into the final as well. At 13 years old, that's a lot to take on, though.
It's a lot, but I just always think positive. It's just no point in thinking negative at all. Like, just when it came to like fighting, I just felt like, right, just get him out. Like I just know what I had to do to win, and I like just get him out the way and then focus on who I've got in the final. And it's just like when I got to the final, I was like, I've worked hard for this. You know what I mean? I know I've worked harder than him to win this, and just end up just putting all into it and just winning. So
in between this Saturday and Sunday, what is the structure of your day? Do you because like for me, I had to travel, right? So I had to travel all the way back to Ballock. I was shattered, right? Because I've not been up on a Saturday morning that early. I had to get up at 6, get a train, get through to set up the equipment and that on the Saturday. By the time I get home, I'm exhausted. But that night, people were messaging me about Royal Rumble. People were messaging me about the boxing that was going on. Aye. And I was just couldn't try to switch off, and I'm falling asleep, waking up. Obviously, I had to eat in that. But for you, what happens? You finish boxing, and then what?
It's just getting just straight home, and then like I just kind of went for a bath to like recover a bit, and then I fell asleep. But then ended up waking up really late at night, and I just couldn't sleep, so I was ended up being up for like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on the final.
Did your brain play on you? Do you think about the boxing, or was on your phone looking at TikToks, or what happened?
Just phone kept pinging and pinging and pinging, and just thinking about obviously it was the final. It's like it meant so much to me. I just kept thinking of it.
It was like the night before Christmas. So
like exactly. It was just like the night before Christmas. It was just kept thinking about it. So many thoughts. Like, what happens if I lose? What happens if I get stopped? Like,
did you feel pressure? Because like, Jamie and Abe now aren't in the finals. You are.
Aye.
You're the only Duries boxer that is. And if just say for talk's sake, you didn't win in the final, right, or didn't go to the final, I think people would understand. Or there's been a lot going on with that gym. Recently, they've had to move gyms. The structure's been all up in the air. As I said, we mentioned all the stuff that was going on the Saturday. I think people would understand and go, all right, fair enough. But at the same time, in your mind, you're like got that Duries uniform on, and you're in the finals, and you know what you're capable with, you know what how much you've sacrificed, like we've said. But was there any pressure in being like you need to do this for the gym, or the for Archie, or for your family, or for whatever?
I feel like I need to do it for Archie, to be honest. Like, that's the way I was thinking. Like, he was so stressed out, and like, even when I won, you could just see his face, like, what, you smiling a lot more. And
I seen him getting ready with his phone. I think he knew as well.
Aye, man. Like, even like just seeing him smile just felt good, because obviously a lot of pressure with the new gym and that. Just felt like I felt more released, and I just felt like I'd done it for the gym.
So you say you never had any doubt that you won, but there must be something like in your head to be like you just want your aim to go up. Because that few seconds, I don't think I could do it. I think I've seen boys that have won and they'll cry, or they'll lose and they'll cry, just because the adrenaline is just so high, right? But I remember looking at you were just ecstatic. Explain that emotion to me.
It just felt calm. It just was no emotion really, but I just knew that I was just out there. I just do what I had to do, and like, I know if I just the way I think it is, like, I just as long as I listen to Archie, and if I was a win, then I know he'll be proud of me. And like, if I went out there and I didn't do what he told me to do, then I know it'd just be like, you could see why I lost. But if I went out there and I'd done what I'd done, then I know if I think that's how I know I won, kinda.
So then you become champion. I'm going to tell you something, and I wasn't going to say this, right, because I don't want other people to then start doing it, right? But when the picture of you on the podium, when you're in it's number 1, 2, 3, right? It's like structured. There's a picture of you, and you took your opponent's horn and you raised it. Remember? Aye. Right? And I was like, I'm not going to say it, because then other people be like, oh, I'm going to start doing it. But when I seen that, like, I just thought, wow, what a proper champion you are, because you've like acknowledged. I'm actually feeling emotional saying this. You've acknowledged somebody, right, that's went toe to toe with you in a final, and all that emotion and everything, and then you still had, like, you see people hugging it out, and like Aaron Brown, similar to go and I always say, always goes and makes sure, and we Faris Mahmood always go and make sure that they give their opponent respect. And other boxers do it, right? But that picture I just clocked when I was looking through the photos the other day, and I thought, wow, the respect that you had for your opponent, like to raise his horn as well when you were getting the picture. Mm-hmm. Was that, how did that happen? Did you just, or what was going through your head when it happened?
Well, also when I fought the boy before, like, I fought him maybe in like end of November kinda, and it was a good fight. I won unanimous against him, and like, I know he worked hard as well, and he's a hardy boy. Like, he was coming out there to try and win it, and I just, like, it's just that mutual respect with him. Like, I get along with him well. He's nice, like, his family's nice and that. So it was just kind of like, I just had to just show a bit of respect to him, because he's worked hard as well. So have I. But at the end of the day, it's just boxing. At the end of the day, so.
So you like when you're in the ring, obviously. And I'd said this during like, sometimes I'm trying to big things up, right? So during when Jamie Durie and Lewis Connolly were boxing, I kind of like was like, oh, they're all teammates, and and straight away you seen that they two had to put all that aside and just like go for it with each other. And you've obviously had to do the same, because you, as you said, like, you've the pressure or everything going on, you're just like determined, I want to win, and this is how I'm going to win. At the end of the day, that's what your job is. You have to put things aside, and you have to put friendships on that side. But just when I seen that, and as I said, I was thinking, should I say it, because then other people see it are going to be like, oh, when I'm on the podium, I'm going to raise my opponents up. But if you've done it just naturally because that's what you wanted to do, and I think that's what you're like as a person. As I said, you're very passionate, and you can see how much love you've got for Archie in the gym, and the friendships that you've made in the gym. Like, we had that surprise party for Archie, and it was like just a pure. I turned up and I just felt like I knew absolutely everybody, and even at my awards and that, like, a lot of the stress that I had was taken off me, because people that were turning up were people that I'd seen at boxing, and they wanted me to have a successful day, and was just, oh, if it all went to shit, I think Mason would have been like, all right, well, at least you tried.
Aye.
And that's what I love about boxing. That's why I want to even do podcasts to tell these stories. So it's not like you're going to go on a big break or anything, because right coming up this weekend is the Western Districts kick-off. That's at M&D's. You're boxing the same boy, is that right?
Aye. Well, aye, so probably will be boxing him again. I don't think there'll be anybody else at that weight, so just that's the only really boy I know at that weight. So
many times you boxed him. If you boxed him this weekend, would that be the
second time?
Second time?
Well, no. So this weekend it'll be the third time I boxed him.
And is he growing at the same rate as you are? Because I'm just thinking further down the line in about, well, it'll be a lot, probably in about 10-year time, but we see the two of you headlining the Hydro or something, or there'll probably be another big massive sports centre or something by then. But this is something where he's like my mate Cash, he's got pictures when he was travelling with Boxing Scotland, and it was like there's Lee McGregor in the 40s, Nathaniel Collins and all. There's all pictures of them when they're 13, 14, 15, 16 and all, and then you see them now as pros boxing each other, like, and some of them went obviously different weights and that. But do you think further down the line we could see the two use box?
Definitely, probably in the elites or something, probably. So probably, and obviously Western Districts and then Golden Gloves. I'll fight him again after that. So
coming from his point of view, like, he obviously you're his arch nemesis, as you want. Like you say that you can be mates out the ring, but in the ring, I'm not going to speak on his behalf, but he's got somebody that he needs to go for and somebody that he needs to beat, and that's you. Mm-hmm. What does that feel like?
I feel like there's a bit of pressure with that, but like, at the same time I've got to keep composed and I'm not going to let it get to me. Like, even for that fight on the weekend, I was like, I know he's going to come for me. I know he'll want to win it. Like, you know what I mean? I bet when he's home show, in front of like everyone, like, and I just came back from injury at the time and had to cut 3.5 kilo in 2 days or something like that. So, and I ended up winning like unanimous. But I know he wanted to. After I bet him the first time, I know he wanted to win, and especially in a final. You know what I mean? Like, I think there was a lot of anger that he had to let out, and he done it.
Which you can understand. Like, if it was the other way about, I think anybody would be like, oh, this boy's bet me, he's new. But it's weird because, like, you're Scottish champion, which is kind of like, obviously you've got the national tournaments and then you get the local Western Districts, like, running literally within a week each other. But the national tournaments, you can face anybody in Scotland. Exactly. Western Districts is people that...
Scotland.
And like, the timing is a bit weird because really it would be good if he's boxed the Western Districts first and then went through the national tournament. But it is what it is, and it's just like the timing of things. Is it because will this be finals for you?
Probably, yeah.
For some it'll be finals, and for the elites, I think they have an elite finals, which was November. For like, so it's the timing is all over the place, but for you it's just another opportunity to get in the ring and box, and I know, like, with your training, it's just something you're constantly, like, focused on. Now you're 13, so I spoke to you about my nephew's been 15, 16, and they've got mates that are, like, going out to parties and they're having to get taxis home because they're staying out late somewhere or whatever. Do you have that? Because, to be honest, I never really went out chilling with my mates. I was about late 14, 15. By then I'd started working at Pizza Hut and stuff, and I was always busy anyway. But for you, do you have time to be a young person, or do you have time for school, or do you have time for mates, or is it...
Sometimes, but I'm just really focused on training, like boxing. I just like what I want to do, like, especially after the GBs. I had to feel something to do what I wanted. I was supposed to be in a few tournaments in the summer, but I had the injuries and that. I couldn't do it, but ended up just spending time with my mates, and it kind of felt like that's what I needed, like, for the full year. Like,
because it is important.
Exactly.
Like, some things we forget. There is highs and lows in boxing, and, you know, like, we'll talk about the GBs. Like, I went to Dundee. You got bronze, which is a massive achievement for your age, and to even be on that Scotland team. And one thing, I'll say this as well, one thing that I loved about that was that you seen everybody sort of gelling together. So there was Jacob Naismith, Aaron Sarwar, who else you got? Thomas Riley. Or I'm trying to think of all the names, man. But you just had this whole group. It was even at night. I was like, "What you's up to?" Because I stayed in Dundee, right, and like some of you are going across to the Aldi or Lido, whatever it is, across the road, and I was just like, "Don't think you're all here for like some crazy party weekend." But you's one. It was that you's all like behaved, to be honest, really well. But that gelling together is like a Scotland team, which is different because all yous have known is boxing each other.
Aye.
And now yous are having to pull together to be like a Scotland team to box people that maybe you don't know or you've not seen before.
Aye.
First of all, did you enjoy it?
I loved it. It was a great experience. Also, I was only on 6 fights. I was still a novice at the time, but great experience. Like, and obviously getting in the ring with Thomas Riley, it's like European silver medalist now, and GB gold medalist. Like, it was a great experience.
And the thing is, like, people normally build up their sort of boxing career in home shows, novices, right? You earned your badges at a GB championship. That's what you got your bouts under your belt, which then propelled you to then compete in the national championships you just done, which is a crazy way you're thinking about it. But when you were picked for the team, what did it feel like?
Buzzing, like, end up like just so chuffed with myself, and felt good like getting told that I was gonna represent my country in a short time that I did. Like, I was only on like 6 fights. I couldn't really get a lot of fights then, so it was like I was just really buzzing to get back in the ring and fight.
And the bad side of that is when you have been competing at that level, sometimes it's then difficult for you to get contests and bouts and for people to challenge you because you've been seen. Like, people can watch your bouts, people know what your skills are, and you're winning, coming back with medals and that. And then you'll find yourself in a position like, look at Jacob Naismith. A lot of time people don't want to box him. You have to go to Ireland or try and find people to box. And although it's, as I said, it is a good thing and it's also a bad thing, you're getting the experience you need there boxing people for the UK. But the bad side is that sometimes you're then finding it difficult to find opponents. When I remember how, like, you were upset, right? You won bronze medal, which, bro, looking back, like at that moment in time, right? Obviously, I get it, but I remember coming out to find you because I just wanted to make sure you were all right and stuff. But you were upset by it. Looking back, I know you enjoyed that, like the whole experience, but do you have any regrets of what you've done in the ring, or was there anything that was different? Because your coach isn't there.
Aye.
Did you think that played a part?
I felt like that did play a part. Like, especially with the Scotland team, it's like they were just taking corners. Like they were deciding that I'll just take this corner, I'll just take this corner.
It's like a conveyor belt.
And they're
just like,
yeah, exactly. And it's like they're teaching you different ways. Like, that's the way they do it. It's like they teach you different ways. Like, the ways they teach you, it's brilliant. Like, I loved it. But it was just so much going on at one time, and then also it's me against my own teammate. And when I was in the ring, I could hear Archie and I could hear James Hilton as well at the same time, and it was just two voices in my head at once, and I couldn't focus at all. So
the thing is, and I say this to boxers, and sometimes I don't even think they realise it, when they're in the ring, there's like an antenna between them and their coach. I've seen coaches that haven't taken corners, but they've been at the other side of the building, and they'll shout something, and the boxer will react to it. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know if, and there's hundreds of noise, so I don't know what you hear in the ring.
Aye.
But sometimes it's like that voice, subconsciously, Archie might say something, and you'll just hear his voice because you're so used to it. Mm-hmm. Do you find that, or do you even acknowledge, you even like are aware that happens?
I can hear it all the time. Like, I can hear Archie's voice as well, but also when it was at the GBs, it was just, I was used to hearing James's voice as well, and then obviously Archie was there as well, and it's like two voices I'm used to hearing. It was just so much at the same time, but it's like, I mean, like, I kind of feel like I needed, like, sometimes you need to, like, take a loss to, like, improve, and I felt like that's what I needed to get myself better at boxing, and I did.
And that's the thing, like your first bout was at the home show, right?
Well, yeah.
And I remember it was the first time I seen you just put absolutely everything in the ring, and your wee entourage, your wee family, was right next to where I was, and I seen you come there and you were upset, and then I was like, I came out and said, "Oh, do you want to do an interview?" And when you jumped up, you just wiped your tears away, and that you just went right into it, and I was like, "Who is this wee guy, man?" He's like, you just switched into this pure mature. As I said, it was like talking to a 25-year-old, and sometimes like I forget that when I'm talking to you now, I feel like I'm talking to somebody that's my age, and I've never looked at the age where my family's like, oh, different ages, and we always just talk to people like we would talk to like people were in age, but it was just like refreshing to see somebody that was just came out about, had taken the loss, and then very quickly assessed it, and you were like, oh, I'm just going to get my head down, get back in the gym, and I was like, this guy's mental. And that's when I started watching you and seeing you progress, and everybody loves a comeback story, but Jesus, man, what a bloody comeback you've had just, and you're not done yet. As we said, you got the Western Districts coming up this weekend. After that, what happens? Or you
training for the Golden Gloves, and then also we've got a home show in March 3rd, and then we're going for GBs again. And then
so Golden Gloves is only a month away.
Exactly.
Boxing season's well and true, and you forget this, man. Like, one thing I was going to say, I said we'd talk about later, is the luck of the draw in these tournaments, and how sometimes, like, there was boxers there, that Ross Cornett, Ewan Thompson, had boxed every day.
Aye.
Ross, I think it's Ross Cornett. When he boxed in the final, he'd already had box Friday, box Saturday, and then box Sunday. His opponent get a bye to the semis, and then get a walkover to the final. So his opponent only boxed that Sunday, and obviously is it nobody can question like how somebody just coming in for the weekend is no boxed yet. No, his opponent did say he would have preferred to box earlier, but at the same time he's coming in well refreshed.
Aye.
You, as I said, you had to earn your spot into the final, which is just it's like flipping a coin. It could have been any of the two on Saturday. But do you see that being unfair, or do you think it's just the way it goes? Or
I think it's fair, but at the same time, I don't know how it feels to get a bye or walkover. Every time I've been in the championships at the novices, I did get a walkover, but I was supposed to fight that day.
Yeah.
You just pulled out at the last second. I was in the ring and that, and you just pulled out. And then for the Western Districts, the boy I was fighting got a bye into the semis, and then I had to fight quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then fought him in the final. So it's just the way it is, luck of the draw.
So there was, I mean, some of the guys that were in tough, like that Ewan Thompson, I'm just like, I don't know if you've seen his
Man.
It's just like, they were hard bouts for him, man, as well.
Man.
Like Friday, Saturday, and then the Sunday, and then a game with Ross Cornett. I kind of thought that Ross Cornett's bout was very close, right? But I was like, as somebody that's like a human, I think he deserves to win. Like, he's just had like, this is his third crazy contest, and if he didn't win, especially after being, maybe, I don't know if he was tired or whatever, did you feel, obviously when on a Saturday you've just turned up, you're like ready to go, did you feel less refreshed already in the final, or did it make a difference, or what was?
Well, I felt a bit less refreshed. Like, usually you're used to having just a fight, and then just you're resting up till back to training. So it's the way it is. It feels weird. And when I woke up on the Sunday, I just had really sore, tight legs.
Yeah.
So it was just like, just had to go on with it and just had to fight no matter what. Because I'm not going to sit and complain about it. You know what I mean? I'm getting a chance to fight for another gold.
And I think this helps develop you even emotionally. There is things that you need to think about and consider, right? And we'll talk about that quickly as well. But I think they're literally developing you into a champion, and you having to sacrifice, having to juggle the stress, having to deal with absolutely everything, right? And then earn your way into finals, and then when, like, I think you become a better champion. And we'll go back to the 40 when you lifted your opponent's on it. It makes you, I think, a better boxer and a proper champion. You see people that they maybe be a bit arrogant in that. And you're like, are they a good ambassador or a representative of the brand of boxing or the club or Scotland? But I think you carry it like well. You're a great ambassador, not just for Duries Boxing Club or Boxing Scotland, but for yourself and your family as well. What's your school like? What's it? I asked you the other day, I was like, are you at school or what? Like, and I do this because my youth group, like every time some of them miss school, the Moz are messaging me and I have to phone them up to find out where they are and send them home. So I'm always in that mindset when I see my nephews, do you at school today? Or like, so with you, I was like, you said, I just finished training. But I know schools will, because you're getting to that level, they'll let you get time off. Because you are represent Scotland or like further down the line as well. So what's it like your school? What's the script?
Well, at the start, nobody did really know I boxed at all. Like, after my first week, nobody knew. Like, but after I won the novices, then like kind of got out of it at the school. My school posted it on the school Twitter page and that, and then everybody kind of knew, and it just kind of changed for there. Like, before I was like getting like winded up and that, and then I ended up getting a bit of respect, and then I don't have any problems with anybody in school anymore. So
the people, and this like I don't know how to put this right, but like one of my mate's younger brothers, right, he's a big boy, right, he's like when he was about 16, 17, he was working in my shop city centre, and his mates would go to Kelvin Grove Park in the summer, right, get into Border, and then phone him and be like, "Oh, going to come back us up." And I get annoyed with him because I was like, you're such a big guy, right? You should be using that to split fights up.
Aye.
But as a boxer, sometimes people have like, I think, I could take him, or who's in Kaz. Do you come across that?
Aye, all the time, and people always say that to me. I think you're a boxer, I'm like one then, but it's just like, the way I think it's like the way I've been brought up, it's just like, just waste of time, to be honest. Like,
and this is the thing that boxing does. Boxing will teach you the discipline that you need to be a boxer, right? And the times where you need to put everything on the line, like we've just witnessed at the weekend, and then times when you're like, nah, that is the off it. Like, and I think that maturity, like, I keep saying it, and I don't want to keep making a big deal of your age, but for a 13-year-old to have this level of maturity and this experience in a combat world, where like the pressure and being in there, what you're going into, like punch something, that's what it is. But people don't I think understand that if they've not seen it. I remember when years ago it was an Argo show, and my mate was boxing. I think he was at 15. He asked us to go to the show, and we went, and he said, "Oh, it's an exhibition. I'm boxing my mate." But we didn't understand what that meant. All we knew was he was in the ring, and we were shouting, "Oh, punches he done!" Like, and looking back, I was like, "Oh, it's so embarrassing," because I see people doing it now. I see mods and aunties and that if somebody's in an exhibition, they'll just be like, "Punch!" Oh, don't! But the referee won't allow it. The referee won't allow you to be too aggressive. I've seen like Jim Smith Stoper about because he's like, "Nah, they're being too aggressive. It's an exhibition and it can't. It's just like a sort of light spar." But do you have to? Does your mates understand that, or do you have to explain to people, or even teachers, what they like?
It's just like, they understand it. Like, my mates and that understand it a lot. But like, with the schoolmates, like they usually just like, they know a box and they just like they respect it and that. But then obviously, I feel like I'm more like pals, like with my pals for boxing. Like I kind of like hang about with more. It's like obviously they know what's going on with it and all that, so that's just like that they understand it and they relate to it a bit more. And then also the teachers, it's just they just shit boxing, to be honest. And I've like one of my teachers, Mr. Tracy, is like it's like my pastoral care teacher. I go to me when I like I've got anything on my mind or whatever. He understands it a lot. Like he's the reason. Like when I found out when I got picked for the Scotland team, I was training like a lot. And the school agreed that give me days off. It's like 3 days off like for a week. So they just like they know that I'm passionate about it, and they just respect
and you're succeeding in it.
Exactly.
Like it's not like you're just going for a laugh and like coming away. Even if you didn't win the medals, even if you didn't get the titles or become champion, you're succeeding in progressing and developing and becoming more mature and being an athlete. That's what you are. And education is important, and but at the same time, if you do have these abilities and skills and you're putting everything in to succeeding in them, then I'm glad it happens at the school. We're sort of try to be as supportive of that as I can, and plus it looks good for them. You see, it looks good on their Twitter. What school is it?
It's Margaret Mary Secondary.
I don't even know what that is. Is that in Rutherglen?
In Castmilk.
Oh, Castmilk. So it's good for them. Like to say, oh look, we've got a boxing athlete that's representing Scotland, and he's 2-time Scottish champion. That's what, have you seen them since you won?
No, not yet. I've not saw them yet. But
so when you back at school?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Aye, so I'll go in and then obviously go and see some of my teachers. That it's like more of the teachers that do PE and that they understand it a lot more than any other teachers that.
You're going to. I mean,
subjects.
Looking back, I remember every single year, the same English teacher used to say, third year, this is the biggest year, and then the fourth year, this is the biggest year, you need to concentrate.
Exactly.
And fifth year, this is the biggest year, and then some teachers would argue with each other. Like drama was like, I love drama, that's probably what helped me stay speaking and that. But my drama teacher was like, I wanted to be a lawyer when I was younger. And she was like, well, if you want to get into law school, you're going to have drama. And my English teacher was like, no, you need to know English. Like, that's the most important. And she's like, no, you need to go into a courtroom and do. And teachers obviously will see it through their perspective and their subject. They want you to do well because it's a reflection of them.
Aye.
I mean, you just said there that one of the things that motivates you and pushed you to one is because you wanted Archie to feel like good as well, but at the same time, you ultimately need to do it for yourself.
Exactly.
And that's what it comes down to. And I think the support network that you have with your family, the sacrifices that your mum needs to make as well. I know what it's like for the mums and the grandpas and they have to sacrifice as well, and it costs an absolute fortune.
Aye, it does.
But you as well are sacrificing. You don't always get the time to go do the things that other people are doing, and you're at that age where if you didn't have that support network, it could fall away. And you could maybe have a bad loss, or you feel or get injured, and it sort of takes you away, and then you're like, all right, what else am I going to do? Because you're constantly always busy.
That's how.
Do you have time to think about like things like your mental health, or are you just too young for that, or just does?
Oh yeah, definitely think about my mental health all the time. I've suffered with mental health problems a lot as well. I know I'm young, but like, especially when I got injured not that long ago, I was doing mentally. But Jack Turner, the pro, he messaged me and he would make sure I was okay and all that, and told me to keep my head up. It's just part of my victory path, and it's just a part of life, and I'm gonna get through it.
And that's good that like you are comfortable to talk about it at a young age as well, and you're aware of it. Because a lot of people, I mean, if you broke your horn and you've got like a cast or something, you can see that.
Aye.
But if you've maybe came back for, as I said, like look at the pressures you had at the weekend, and you get the win, so you're going to be buzzing. But there's always going to be a come down where you maybe like just coming back down to Grand after something successful, or if you didn't win, you're going to feel like question yourself and stuff like that. But I think having that support network and you just being aware and being quite positive, like as I say, when I wanted you and you all young today, like have your own sort of podcast and stuff, it's just because that energy the two of you have together bounces off each other.
Aye.
And then have your own guests on, and then interview, even just about boxing, you about anything. But I just was like, nah, they need to just do something, because I think you do have a lot to give. Boxing world's one thing, but at the same time, like this entertaining thing, like you're dancing at the, do you remember? Archie's part of there is just something about you that is just, it's good for people to see, because I think it would give them a wee boost as well.
Definitely.
So covered a lot. Is there anything that you think we've missed? Anything that you think, after you get the GBs and that coming up again, you want? Is that still to be selected, or
still to be selected? But hopefully again with that, and then pushing probably for Sir William Wallace Box Cup, and then the goal is to go to Europeans schoolboys this year. So
these are big, massive goals and it's you're achieving them step by step. You're getting there. And I need to come out to the new Duries. So I said to Archie, like maybe when things have settled down a wee bit, just come out and see it and just like catch up with everybody. How is your family in the house? How was it like when you seen your mum after winning?
I like the way I think it is, like it's not like me being mean in it, but see after every fight, I don't know. I just like to be left alone to just like recuperate and just to
process it yourself.
What's going on? Like, that's the way I'm always want to be alone. Like, so I was like, after
families on the go understand that they're just going to be like, nah, come here.
I know, man. I'm just like, I just want to be left alone to just calm down and just bring myself back down to level. Like, and I feel like they don't understand that, but at the same time, obviously they want to like congratulate me and all that, but I need to, like, the way I see it is that after every fight, win or loss, I've just got to be by myself. Like, just I've got to just think about.
Is it? Do you avoid like say I used to, like I was at school, right? They used to have this award Pupil of the Year, right? And I won it in third. They started it when I was in third year. I won it third year, and then in fourth year they wanted to give me again, and I was like, no, I don't. I think there's other people that deserve it. And the teacher that ran it used to get annoyed, and she was like, I've put a lot of time and effort into these awards, and you saying you don't want it, it's like throwing it back in my face. We just won't have one for fourth year then. So then I took it in fourth year, and then in fifth year they done like, and I was like, it was just because people knew me. It wasn't because I was anything special. I never went to school to learn. I used to go to school because I used to run. I was editor of the school magazine. I used to have we used to have like a pure funny magazine. Right? We used to take piss out of teachers and also, and it was just we would just to sell it, and it made so much money, man. When I left the school with the banking, it was like $7,000, and I just gave it to I had to sign something to get to Pupil Council, and they bought like basketball hoops or something or benches. But I always got to school to do things like that and chill with my mates and stuff. Like school for me was just building. Probably a lot of stuff I do now. Like we made the school video when I was like 15, 16. But when they used to want to give me this award, I was just like, I didn't want it. I felt like I've just came. I've no done nothing. Academically, I was all right. Right, I didn't study for a lot of exams. Like I done a few advanced hires. And it was just because I was interested in like chemistry. I used to love, and I was brilliant at chemistry, but just because I loved how everything fit in. But it was a sort of like I hated like people being around me going, "Oh, well done, you won this." And like I just used to want to like keep it at a distance. And families don't always understand that. But when you win, do you feel like smothered with people, or
I just feel like there's just a lot going on at the once after I win. But like it's the way I think it's like I've trained. Like my family don't really see me training. Like I'm training by myself and that, and like I'm used to being alone. But like I like being alone a lot of the time. Like that's just the way I'm. Like I just like being by myself, and then like that's just the way I'm. But like when I win all these things and all that, it's just so many people coming up to me and all that. It's just like I just don't like it at all, man.
The thing is going forward, I mean, you're not at a point where you have to sell tickets for your home shows, but they're always sold out anyway. But that's what I used to say with Cash. He was kind of the same. He just wanted to turn up, box, and then go home. Yeah. And he hated all the other stuff to go with it. Part of the reason we even set up the channel was because he was like, there was nobody doing interviews with him when he was younger. So when it came to him being pro, he never did any experience or practice, and I was like, well, why don't we? This is why we set up JATV Raw. It was like, why don't we do that and we do interviews with boxers? But and he didn't really have to sell tickets, but there is boxers in the future that have had to then go out and sell hundreds of tickets for
just to make it a bit of money.
If they have turned pro, exactly. And it's difficult. And some of the bad things with having people around you, it's like you're going to need these people.
Aye.
Right, I'm pretty sure your mum will have a list of them anyway, who's going to come and buy tickets off you, and she's able to do that for you, and you do need to have that support network. But at the same time, like they say boxing's the loneliest sport. There's people, like the first time I ever spoke to Sam Hickey, he was talking about when he was travelling, he had nobody with him. He was getting sent to Kazakhstan, and he's seen his mates going out and partying and all that, and not being able to see his girlfriend. And he was just in another country in some wee hotel, maybe travelling all that distance for one bout. And that's it.
Aye.
Knew it's good that Reece Lynch and him sort of like they always bunk up when they're travelling and stuff. And which is why it was so good when I seen you at the in Dundee, like that whole Scotland team gelling, because I'm like, this would be good if you're succeeding and there's other boxers are succeeding, then you can go away together and you can have that.
That's it.
And you also understand that you're like everybody's in the same boat. But for families, it's like you're still your mum's wee boy, your grandpa's wee boy, and that. It's like when they see you succeeding, that they have that pride in that for you. And it's just something you go have to put up with, I suppose. Like the more successful you're going to get, the more of that's going to have to happen as well. But it is important you get your space, and you can when you need help, they're there, and if you don't, you just make it clear to them, innit?
It's just like I feel like they've got to understand it as well. There's a lot of the time like we need like just our own space. Like we need to understand like there's just a lot of people like to be alone as well, especially after fighting a championship or whatever. Like, it's a lot to process. Like the way I was thinking it after I won Sunday, I was like, I've just became an intermediate champion. Like, it's a lot. Like, I feel like they don't understand. Like, as I said, like I'm training by myself all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm training with Archie and that, and they know like how much work I'm putting in.
Yeah.
They can only see like videos and like 3-minute videos, just like me training, but they don't see what else goes behind the scenes as well, and like what I'm thinking and all that.
I just look at like the things I was speaking about, like the pressures. You're not just turning up and going in a ring and boxing. You've got stuff going on with your coach not allowing to coach other boxers there. You're there as a team. You want to be able to watch them, support them. You can because you're in the ring the same time as your teammates are in the ring, and like all these pressures, people I don't suppose understand. There's even stuff that I do. People don't get, like between Thursday, I did it up yesterday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I had travelled for 18 hours in total. So 4 hours a day travelling, 2 hours there, 2 hours back. Right? The streams weren't even on for that long. You add up all the times you streamed, it was for less time streaming. But you were in the ring for, what was it, 2 minutes? 3.5. Right? So you think all that time and effort that you've put in, and you get in the ring for 4 or 5 minutes.
Exactly, and it's just done like that. And
it's a big day.
Exactly, man. But it's like sometimes when you think about it, it's like the way I think. It's like I just trained all that time and I'm in there for 6 minutes, and even if I like, especially it hurts more when I lose because I'm like, it's just happened. And I set like a blink of an eye. You know what I mean? Like I've just been in there and I've lost, and then it's like I came out and it's like
my best mate's wee brother, right, when his first bout was in Nairn. And we were like, right, it's his first one, let's all go up. They even said, no, you can't come, it's fully booked and that. And I was like, right, how about we come and we film the whole show for nothing if you just get us free tickets, right? And they were like, aye, that's fine. Went up, the cameras and everything to film it. We 3 hours drive there, 3 hours drive back, so for 6 hours travelling, right? Won't say his name in case he gets a bash over, but we get stopped in the second round. So literally for 2 minutes in the ring, he had to stay there all night. We came back that night, but 6 hours travelling, right? Plus I had to edit all the videos in that for 2 minutes, right? And it's like when you look at it that way, you can sort of then add up the sacrifice. Like the people don't get, even ring announcers. I see the what Craig Stephen or Gregory Houston or Vincent Keane does behind the scenes, and how they have to like set up things hours before they sound test, have to like juggle like the novices, for example. You get 3 rings, 800 boxers, like 2 weekends, 6 days, and it's nuts. My biggest worry is just, do we have a good signal to send a stream? Because even though it's free, people go, oh, what is this? You can't even do a good signal, and I'm like, well, go buy us a my $5 then.
Exactly,
Like
man.
this, like all this stuff costs money and all that, but your sacrifice is only just financial; they're time consuming as well, and you do have to juggle a lot, and it will. You're in a routine now, but it will get easier and easier as you go on, because you will get in these trends of being like, all right, the intermediates are at this time, the elites are at this time. As you said, you've got a whole schedule now taking you right up.
Aye,
Way into what, August?
August. Well, August, and then it's just a lot going on as well, man. Like, it's like the one thing I think is most important is like having like good people around you, like pals. Like,
Yeah.
Williams, like, just been there for me a lot as well. Like, and also just a couple like the boxing Scotland teammates, like Thomas O'Reilly and Oscar Steele. Like, Oscar's like, ever since the GBs, like, became like one of my best pals. Like, he's coming to the home show.
And that's brilliant to see.
Exactly, man.
It's brilliant to see that these developing these friendships that will stay with you for years and years to come.
Exactly, man. He's like, Oscar's been there for a lot. He's always like helped me improve, and he's been there and just make sure I'm alright and all that. Like, he's coming to the home show obviously in March, and he's like, I'm coming up to support you and all that. He's travelling for like Irvine all the way back up here to watch me. It's like,
I'll get him in commentary.
aye.
He can commentate in your.
Aye, man, that'd be good. It's like, I feel like having good people around you makes it a lot. I feel like it makes a lot of pressure off you and a lot of more, makes it a little bit easier for you. But I feel like for me, I feel like I like it the hard way. Like, I don't like taking shortcuts or anything. Like, I could rather like we do like team runs and all that. Like, I see people taking shortcuts and all that. I feel like I just like.
You will start. I mean, Cassius was since he was 15, boxing, everything rotated. Even his house, right where he lived, there was a time when everybody had to go to sleep, because he was like, he would be up early and there would be like no noise and all that. There's his whole life was just boxing, and when he sees like other people, like, they're going out partying and drinking and that when they've been boxers, he feels disheartened because he knows what he's had to sacrifice, but he also wants to see them achieving. And if you do see people cutting corners, if you do see like people maybe not taking it as serious as what you do, you think, why are they putting themselves in harm's way? What are they looking for? What do they want?
Exactly.
But as I said, you started young enough for this to become a routine, to have that good support network around, the support for your school, your family, getting fans like me to watch you for your first bout and to be like, get excited when you're coming out. And I won't try to smother you too much. If you win one, we do a wee interview. If you don't want to talk, then that's fine. But look, I just think you're one exciting wee young boxers that are coming through, and like, as I said, you're an ambassador for your family, your school, your club, Scotland, and I think it's only going to get bigger and better for you. So thanks for coming and talking to me.
Thank you.
As always. And next we'll see you at the home show, which is not long, so let's just do it a month.
Is that
a month away. And I'll come visit in the gym. But thanks so much. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Just yeah, shout out to Archer, of course. Just try to thank him for what he's done. Just over the past year for me.
And if there is any companies that you're looking to sponsor you, you're looking for sponsorship,
sponsorships, then just to help me financially.
So there you go. Like, you got a 2-time Scottish champion, bronze GB medalist, Western District champion. I won't speak too soon about the next Western District. We don't know what's going to happen to that. But if there is anybody who wants to sponsor Lucas or any boxer, get in touch and I'll pass you on. Like, I think people really need to like support young boxers, and eventually I keep looking at ways to generate money for us so we can have a wee development fund. Like, if that works, then obviously you're one of the boxers at the top of the list that I'd want to support myself. But thanks for talking to me. Thanks for your grandpa as well for coming. He's my producer in the back. And I'll speak to you soon, my man.
See you soon, man.
Shout out to your gran.
Amber.
Should we get her in?
Yeah.
Where's your gran? Come on in. There you go. There's your gran. What's your name?
My name's Amber.
Did your dad ever box?
He boxed a little bit over in Spain.
Does it help having your big brother there?
Yeah.
I asked him, you spar together? He said he wins. Is that true or what?
That's because he's heavy.
Throw away your job, you can throw away JATV, you can throw away your car, you know, so nothing matters.
And you do sort of need to re-establish what's important. And then I always think, like, I'm very bad at being motivated. And some days I was spending, like, in fact, after the awards, I'd probably spent weeks just not doing nothing.